used to think that anchoring was just a matter of dropping this over the side of the boat. Which begs the question, are you doing this wrong? One of the most interesting things is something they call anchor scope. If this is our seabed, and this is our water line, and let's say our boat is sitting right here. That's me. If our water is 10 feet deep, we're supposed to have 50 feet of anchor line. It needs to go 50 feet away from my boat to have correct anchor scope in 10 feet of water. This is a 5-to-1 ratio. So if this was 20 feet of water, that should be 100 feet away. Now ideally, they want us to have a 7-to-1 ratio, which means 70 feet of anchor line for 10 foot of water depth. If you're just out for the daytime in calm waters or whatever, I think 5-to-1 could work. What does 50 feet away from my boat actually look like? That's 20, 40, that's 50 feet. How can we make sure that we have 50 feet of line let out whenever we're setting our anchor? You see, marking this line every 10 feet is an important part of the process. We have 10 feet, 20 feet, this will be 30, 40, and this will be 50. I'm going to start marking there because my anchor line is only 100 feet. So I should never be letting out 50 feet of anchor line before I'm hitting bottom. Now, if you really want to know a lot about anchoring, please don't just rely on this video right here from me. I'm just a guy. Go to the correct sources for that type of information. This anchor right here has a chain on it, and the chain combined with the rope or the line is called your anchor rod. The chain is actually an important part of the anchor because the weight of the chain and it dragging along the bottom is what helps the anchor work. And the way these fluke Danforth style anchors work is that no matter how they're dropped, they're going to flop over one way or the other. And whichever way they flop, they're still going to work because as the boat moves, it's going to pull and it's going to dig that anchor into the sand. And then as you lay out your 5-to-1 or ideally 7-to-1 ratio, now all of that chain is laying on the seafloor and that's got to all drag along as well. Speaking of anchor chain, I've got my anchor line hooked up to my anchor chain right here in my boat. So we can go out and do a demonstration of proper anchoring technique, or at least my attempt at proper anchoring technique. breeze is blowing this way. We always want to anchor into the wind. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to tie this off right here, and I'm tied off at 10, 20, 30. I'm tied off at 30 feet. Our scope is not measured, does not include things like the anchor chain, I don't think. And remember, with a 7-to-1 ratio, we can always have a little bit more. So I'm gonna chuck this over the side. There we go. So I'm in about 8 feet of water. There's my 10-foot mark right there. And if I want to set the anchor, I need to put the boat in reverse to pull against the anchor. Not really strong, kind of slowly. The wind is pushing me all around. All right, I don't know if you can see or not, but we've kind of stopped moving, and I'm trying to go backwards with the boat. So I feel like I've got my anchor pretty well set. Let's go up here and take a look. All right, so there's my anchor line. And it's kind of wrapped around the boat right now. If you can see it, it goes off over this way. So what's going to happen is the bow of my boat is now turning into the wind, which is typically what happens. And the wind is coming from that way. So the bow should end up facing the wind. I don't know if you can see these flags over here. They're flapping right at me. So now I'm sitting in the bow of the boat, and my anchor's holding me fast. If I want to anchor for lunch and not drift too far or whatever, this works in shallow water in a smaller boat like this. Now, the way you release your anchor is kind of the opposite of how you set it. So remember, we put the boat in reverse to let that anchor dig in, like I showed on the beach, right? So this allowed the anchor to dig into the bottom of my river. What we're going to do to release the anchor is we're going to motor the boat forward into where the anchor line is. So ideally, this is one of those situations where you'd like to be able to have a partner with you, because that way somebody can be operating the boat, moving it slowly forward while the other person is slowly pulling up the anchor line. And when the anchor line gets even with the bow of the boat, where it's straight up and down, now you know you're right over your anchor and you should be able to tug it free. But if you can't tug it free, then what you do is you just keep motoring the boat a little farther forward to get past that point of the front of the anchor where you can pull it out that way. If you're by yourself and you're in a small boat like this, I can certainly be pulling up this anchor line and it'll just pull the boat forward, and I can do all of that up here by myself. So the anchor we rigged up is holding fast. All right, let's see if I got what it takes to be able to pull up the anchor on my own. So the idea is that we just slowly pull on the anchor line. And in a small boat like this is not too hard to do in this kind of weather. It's just a light breeze blowing. All right, here's one of my marks. Is this my 10-foot mark or my 20-foot mark? I don't remember. This is why I probably should have them banded off with 2 zip ties there, or 1. So that way I know a little bit better. We're still pulling closer. All right, that was my 20-foot mark, I guess, because here comes my 10-foot mark. All right, here's my 10-foot mark. Now I can feel it changing, and obviously it's much closer to the boat now, because now we're probably up to the anchor chain. And now I can feel more weight. Oh, and I can feel it clear. I can feel definitely we lifted off the bottom, I think. So here's my anchor chain. And here's my anchor. And it is surprisingly clean. Excellent. Well, did that cover anchoring pretty good for you? I have a whole playlist of other videos related to anchoring, and maybe I'll put it together as a YouTube shows as well, or series, or whatever they call it. Anyway, thank you so much for watching. YouTube's picked another video for you, and please check that one out, and please like and subscribe if you haven't done so already. See you in the next video. Alrighty, let's head out of here.